8:37 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time and Jim Talamonte.
8094 westbound traffic is stop and go from Klein to Indianapolis Boulevard due to road work. It's just a brief slowdown. Eastbound I-80 has some residual congestion approaching 30 after an earlier crash. The Edens run 17 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 15. On the Kennedy, 32 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, a little quicker in the express lanes. Outbound, you're 29 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower, delays start at North Avenue. 40 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 27. Stevenson from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 26 minutes. Ride from 95th to downtown, 18 minutes. I-57, 11 minutes. I-80 to the Verge. Bishop Ford, 11. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partial sunshine in 54, partly cloudy in 39 overnight. Right now, it's 41. Next news at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Back when marriage redefinition was the debate, it was those like myself who were arguing, the idea that if you don't support gay marriage, then just don't get gay married. Ha ha ha. That was the response. The point that we made, people like me, was that once you start erasing lines, you're going to find yourself erasing an ever-increasing number of lines till there are no lines left, and you won't be able to redraw any new ones. A New Yorker who wants to marry their own adult offspring is suing to overturn laws barring the incestuous practice, calling it a matter of individual autonomy.
You knew that was going to happen.
Does this mean this sort of sickness is going to pervade society? No. That a lot of people are going to want to marry their child? No. But it means that felonies against incest are going to have to be removed from the books. And it means the further degradation of the culture and the family and our understanding of truth. And so that moved from where it inevitably was going to go, from sexual orientation to sexual identity. And that's what we've been beset with for the last half dozen years, isn't it? To the point we're at now where at Oklahoma University, you don't just have to take a mandatory diversity training course to be admitted, to be able to be on campus and a student this fall. You also have to get the right answers. And if you don't get the right answers, even though this is subjective, you will continue to be prompted with the same question until you give the proper answer, until you've exhausted anything other than the answer that they want. Elizabeth Owen is a graduate student and staff member. In order to participate in this forthcoming school year, required to complete 3 interactive video-based training programs depicting scenarios that a community member might encounter on campus. Because we're all children and we need to be re-educated by the university. The videos depict politically contentious situations. In one, for example, a fictional coworker, Michael, complains, "I'm so tired of all this transgender stuff." Participants then choose from 3 responses. "Wow, that's incredibly intolerant of you." Number 2, "I agree, political correctness can be so tiring." Or number 3, "You seem upset, what's the matter?" Owen selected, the student, selected the second option, political correctness is tiring, which resonated most with her. The video continued and then said, "Right, like who appointed the language police around here?" Then it restarted, forcing her to select the university-approved response of, "You seem upset, what's the matter?" in order to continue on with the next question and get through this Orwellian questionnaire training video, and an emphasis on training, because that's what it's doing. It's cultural training. And so this is similar to the case that we've talked about on this show involving Shawnee State philosophy professor Nicholas Meriwether, who was forced, at least was going to be forced by the university overlords, to address a student by the pronoun the student preferred rather than addressing them in a way that's reflective of their biological sex and consistent with his understanding of truth as a Christian. And this has become a subject of ongoing litigation that will have great implications for academic freedom and religious freedom on college campuses and in America generally. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by the aforesaid Nicholas Meriwether, again, philosophy professor at Shawnee State University, and his legal counsel, Travis Barham, as well. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for
Thank you for having us.
And I should mention, number one, I hope gentlemen's okay. Number two, Alliance, Travis Barham is a senior counsel and deputy director of the Center for Academic Freedom at the Alliance for Defending Freedom. So again, one of these nonprofit sort of public interest law firms that are representing people whose First Amendment rights are being infringed upon, like Professor Meriwether. So, Professor, why don't you just sort of lay out the case, give us the backstory of the interaction that you had with a student of yours, and then how it escalated to this point of litigation.
Okay. Well, it was at the end of a political philosophy class, first day of class, and a male student approached me and demanded that I use feminine pronouns and titles, that I refer to him as a woman. Even though I tried to explain that this was something I could not do, the student went to the administration, and the administration then disciplined me for that. I think it's very important to understand that the student remained in the class, performed very well, participated actively in the class all the way to the end. And I offered accommodations to the student so that I would not, be calling him something that he didn't wish to be called. But there was no accommodation that was good enough for the administration, and I was disciplined for it.
So, like, what was an accommodation? Calling him by his first name or something like this?
Using proper nouns with a student.
So he wanted to be she, not he.
The student wanted to be referred to as a woman rather than as a man.
And did the student escalate this beyond his initial conversation with you about how you're to refer to him? Did he bring it to the administration, or did this sort of just get around and they came?
Yes, the student brought it to the administration.
I see.
And initially, the administration had offered for me to do what I had proposed, which was only to use proper nouns, and then changed its mind and insisted that I then, as it were, bow to the ideology. I do think that the pronouns and titles are an important part of this, but it's really about being required to adhere to an ideology that I don't accept. This is a free speech issue. It's a religious freedom issue. So the university was effectively requiring me to endorse this gender identity ideology.
Right. No, that's clear. And I think we all have a pretty good idea of the sort of pro forma cowardice of university administrators. But I'm more interested in the interaction between you and that student. So he approaches you, and just how did that conversation go, where you explained your view and why you can't conform with his request, and then he said what?
Well, it's part of the public record that he acted in a very threatening way. He used profanity. He threatened to get me fired on that very first day. Mm-hmm. And I tried to explain to him I can't do that, and so the student was, very threatening and basically threatened to get me fired using profanity.
Travis,
then went to the administration. Yeah.
Travis, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, the situation with the student is one issue, and the student has, I suppose, the ability to express his views however he wishes to do so. The real trouble is when the government starts trying to weigh in on this issue and trying to force people to say things they don't believe. And that's what happened when Shawnee State University decided to get involved and to punish Dr. Meriwether for exercising his freedom of speech. That's where the real troubling scenario is for everyone in the culture. I mean, if the government can force a philosophy professor to endorse ideas that he doesn't believe are true, then it can force any of the rest of us to say things that we don't believe are true. And that's why the victory at the Sixth Circuit on Dr. Meriwether's behalf is such a big deal, not just for professors, but for everyone.
No, I mean, I agree. I'm glad you stated it, that is the big legal issue and the implication outside of this individual case. However, I also think it's instructive to give people some texture here, and those who preach tolerance, and then how that tolerance works when they run into somebody who has a honest disagreement with them. I think that's also instructive.
Well, I agree with you, and it is instructive that Dr. Meriwether went out of his way to accommodate this student, and even initially in a way that the university was willing to go with until the student continued to complain, and then all of a sudden the university backtracked. And even Dr. Meriwether's effort to treat all students with respect and to accommodate this student wasn't good enough, and they decided to go ahead and punish him.
Right, and it was such an oppressive classroom environment that he continued with the class and did very well in it. Got it. The other thing is always interesting in these instances where somebody has been singled out for, for academic defenestration, is your colleagues, Shawnee State colleagues, any professors or administrators, even privately express their support or appreciation for your position, or are you just banished from the community now?
Well, there have been faculty that supported me, and there have been faculty that do not support me. But what I take from that is that the university is to be a marketplace of ideas. It's not supposed to be a one-way street, an assembly line for one type of ideology. So, of course, professors are divided on this issue. And we should be able to have discussions and debates in our classrooms and even among the faculty about this. But when the university steps in, the state effectively, as Travis said, when the state steps in and says, no, there's only one ideology that everybody has to subscribe to, that's where things are really, really going wrong. There have always been debates in higher ed. There have always been disagreements. There are faculty that agree with me, and there are faculty that don't agree with me. But we need to be able to debate this without having to take a side, without having to endorse one view, and that's where I think things went terribly wrong in my case.
Did any of the students come and support you?
Yes, I've had quite a bit of support from students, and some that don't support, but again, it's a marketplace of ideas. I think that's a very, very vital function of the university and our society, that there is disagreement. But yes, I'd say most of the students have been supportive. Yeah.
And what's interesting about the ruling from the Sixth Circuit in Dr. Meriwether's favor is it actually benefits all faculty members from all different ideological perspectives. The university was advancing legal arguments that would have stripped all professors of free speech rights. And so when Dr. Meriwether prevailed at the Sixth Circuit, it was not just a victory for him, but it was a victory for everyone.
Well, and so then where does the case stand now? This has been remanded to the lower court?
It's been remanded to the lower court, and we're going to wait and see how the university wants to respond to this. Hopefully we'll be able to resolve the case at this point, because the Sixth Circuit's decision was so clear on so many of the different issues that are at stake in the case. But we'll just have to wait and see if the university is willing to do that, or if they are going to try to pursue this further.
Well, this is what it takes.
I'd like to reiterate what Travis said, that this is a great victory for faculty across the political spectrum. This is fantastic.
And this is what it takes, is for people in positions of influence to step up when there's an opportunity to step up, and that's what Professor Nicholas Meriwether has done. Professor Nicholas Meriwether, philosophy professor at Shawnee State University, along with his attorney, Travis Barham, senior counsel and deputy director of the Center for Academic Freedom at Alliance for Defending Freedom. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your victory.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and they both joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information. To start your day, it's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry training programs are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Weekend and weekday classes are available. We also provide self-defense legal service plans to keep you and your family legally prepared in the event of a self-defense incident.
To register for a class or purchase a self-defense legal service plan, go to icct.us. icct.us. That's icct.us.
Dr. Howard, the founder and creator of Balance of Nature, said 70% of the produce we buy ends up in the garbage in the landfill. So don't waste your money on produce that you're not going to touch. Get Balance of Nature. It's 6 capsules. You're getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. I can't even name 31 different fruits and veggies, but it's all there. Vitamin D, vitamin C, potassium. So call one of their health coaches / operators, 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Newbies get free shipping and 35% off, or go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount